guys, so with the new Netflix release, I wanted to do a more off the beaten path review of the Netflix movie of Death Note versus the anime version of Death Note. Now there are a lot of reviews that are out there, so I wanted to give my own take on the reasons why I hate the Netflix movie of Death Note. So, in order to do this in a proper stance, I do want to let you know that I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. I did a project for my final that revolved around taking a character, diagnosing him, and then backing up your decision on your diagnosis for what you gave the character. I did Light Yagami, so I'm just kind of recreating all of that. I used the DSM V for that project, so I'll go over all of that. Nonetheless, let's start with Light first, since he's the main character. So, for those of you who have never seen Death Note, maybe you've only watched the Netflix version of Netflix, in that case I am so sorry. Go watch the anime version, it is 10 times better. So, anime version. It is a philosophical anime series which kind of makes you really question your beliefs and morals on whether Light is doing something wrong or if he isn't. Most people usually tend to really like Light at the beginning, and then near the end of the series they absolutely abhor him. This is done spectacularly well. And there are many videos out there on YouTube kind of going over a lot of that, but let me go ahead and just stick with what I understand best, which is the psychological aspects of the character Light Yagami. Light Yagami is one of the most popular people in his school. He is very handsome, so he has all of the attention of the ladies. He is incredibly intelligent, top of his class. Doesn't really need to study, and that kind of shows in the anime. And then he gets given this Death Note. Not really given, he finds it. And then he goes on this case where he's just like, I'm going to get justice. In the anime, his mother never died. Wasn't an act of vengeance. He just hated the fact that he was seeing all of these crimes being committed and nothing happening about it. People will commit severe crimes, they find no evidence, they get put back out in the public and continue doing their life of crime. And as the son of a police chief, he really could not stand it. And to go on how intelligent he is, which the Netflix series movie did not do, is how Yagami Light was actually brought in to the task force for the police department to help solve crimes. That is how intelligent he is. Not even out of high school, and he's already being a consultant to the police department. At the very beginning, he just seems like a very intelligent, bright teenager who is exceptionally well at pretty much anything he does. That includes sports. Everything he does, he's very good at it, from what the anime kind of shows. So it makes sense at the very beginning that when he gets given the Death Note, that what he's doing seems like the right thing to do philosophically. But this is when his true character gets brought out slowly. See, most people who have psychological disorders tend to have a mask on, and this definitely showed for Yagami Light. He excelled in everything he did, like I mentioned, and he did that to please his parents as well as make himself feel better than other people. He, just to put it simply, is a narcissist. People like to say that he is arrogant. No, he is clearly a narcissist. And I will show you some clips.
悪だと 僕は正義だ。怯える弱い者を救い、誰もが理想とする新世界の神となる男だ。そしてその神に逆らう者、それこそが悪だ。間抜けすぎるぜ、エル。もう少し賢ければ面白くなったかもしれないのに。僕に逆らうとどうなるか、世界中が注目しているよ、エル。エル、キラー、必ずお前を探し出して始末する。僕が、私が捕まえるなんて絶対不可能だ。警察が動くのもこんなのが出てくるのも計画のうちさ。
Yes, he's a narcissist. So, that's clearly drawn out with the DSM V. Alright, so let's go ahead and go over the DSM V information that's on the screen here. Because Light is a textbook narcissist. So it says here that anyone who is narcissistic has a grandiose sense of self-importance. I think that's clearly laid out in the anime. They are preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. For Yagami Light, it is power, unlimited success, being a god of the new world. They believe that they are unique, that only they can be understood, or in this situation, only he should have the death note, only he can give justice, only he can be god of the new world. They require excessive admiration, which he does by just being the best in every area. He has a sense of entitlement, the God complex. He is interpersonally exploitive. He takes advantage of others to achieve his or her own ends, which this also involves killing. He lacks empathy and is unwilling to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others. Let's talk about Misa. And then on the second page, he is envious of others or believes that others are envious of him or her. Again, that doesn't really show very much in the anime, but obviously anyone who wants that sort of power is going to be drawn towards the Death Note. And then, most of all, shows arrogant, haughty behaviors or attitudes. I think that kind of spells out Light's attitude when he is not around other people. So again, he is a classic narcissist. I'm going off of the kind of the summary of the DSM-5. The right-hand column goes more in depth. I don't want to get that far in depth because this will be a 3-hour-long video if I do, because I still have to go over him being a sociopath. But again, classic narcissist. Now, when the series starts to progress, you see him kill innocent people. And then, if you take into account all of the people who were accused wrongly for their crimes that then got killed, then he also killed a lot more innocents than just the FBI agents, police officers, the Ray Penbar's fiancé, all of that. Completely complete disregard for life in that area because they are going against him and he is superior. Again, narcissistic personalities being brought out in him, but therefore their lives don't matter. That it shows in the anime series if you've watched it. And it does not show in the movie whatsoever. Good job, Netflix. Anyway, the next thing is a little bit harder to really put a firm diagnosis on, and that is just the fact that he's a sociopath. That's the psychological way of saying he's a serial killer. So, Film Theory did a great job of kind of getting a conservative number, and I did the same thing for my project. It was 2015 when I did my project, so it's been years. But I deducted around 250,000 people was about the number that Light killed over his 5-year time period, which I was happy to see that my number, as an estimate, was pretty dead on with Film Theory. So if you wanted more information about that, I would recommend going over to that channel. I'll have it up on the eye, so go ahead and click that video, take a look at their channel. They're really awesome people. They have no idea who I am. Alright, so being a sociopath is one of the two diagnoses that go under being the antisocial personality disorder. The other one is a psychopath. There are differences in that. It doesn't really matter. It's listed under antisocial personality disorder as the DSM V, I believe. So let's just go over that. So on this page here, he has a list, says that there's a failure to conform to social norms with respect to lawful behaviors as indicated by repeatedly performing acts that are grounds for arrest, like killing people. Deceitfulness as indicated by repeated lying, use of aliases, or conning others for personal profit or pleasure, like killing people. Also, lots and lots of lying. Lots and lots of lying. He lied to his own dad. Impulsivity or failure to plan ahead. Now this is where he starts to deviate from the diagnosis as antisocial personality disorder, because he does plan ahead. That kind of goes with his intelligence and him being a narcissist. But that's okay. He doesn't. The nice thing about a diagnosis within the DSM V is that you don't need to hit all of them. You just need to hit most of them. In this case, you need to get 3 of the following. So he has 2. Next, number 4 is irritability and aggressiveness as indicated by repeated fights, physical fights or assaults. Light doesn't really show this. Reckless disregard for safety of self or others. Yes! Oh my gosh! Let's talk about how he doesn't really care if his followers die as long as they're helping him out. He just does not care about other people. So right there, that's 3. So by the DSM V, he is would then be considered as a part of the antisocial personality disorder. An inconsistent irresponsibility, as indicated by a repeated failure to sustain consistent work. That's not Light at all. No. Lack of remorse is indicated by being indifferent to or rationalizing. Yes. Yes, there is no lack of remorse over killing people. He's tried to kill Elle in one of the clips that I showed you already. I'll re-show that. There's no lack of remorse over his death. He laughs about it until he finds out that he didn't actually kill Elle. But definitely does not have any remorse over killing people. So the next part is the individual is at least age 18. No. Because when the start of the anime starts, he's still in high school, but then he graduates high school and then is at least 18, so it's kind of iffy depending on when you actually pinpoint him being a sociopath as to whether or not the B works. This next one, there is evidence of conduct disorder with onset before age 15. We have no information of this whatsoever. And then the last one is the occurrence of antisocial behavior is not exclusively during the course of schizophrenia or a manic episode. Light is not a schizophrenic. He is not bipolar, so he doesn't have manic phases, so that he checks out of that. So really the main problem with his diagnosis is that there's no information of him before the age of 15. But other than that, if you're just looking at like the first page, yeah, it works. he hit most of the points for being antisocial. So, yes. Good job. So this next page just kind of follows along the ending of the right-hand column. So if you were interested in reading that, now you are able to. So you can go ahead and pause the screen. Otherwise, we're just going to go ahead and continue. So the narcissistic personality mixed with this being a sociopath is a very, very rare trait that has never really been shown in history other than with this particular character. And it's a very interesting dynamic because especially with like Light and L going against each other, you really see his narcissistic personality come out as well as being the sociopath and determining that it is now his goal in life to kill L. L hasn't done anything wrong. So really this is just the serial killer and him speaking along with his narcissistic personality of no one is allowed to be better than him because he is the best person in the world. And then, of course, with his god complex of him wanting to become a god of the new world without any crime. Again, diagnosis kind of fits. Video evidence of it works. So, why don't I like the Netflix version? If you've watched it, Light's personality, his character, it is not the same. Yes, the Light in Light Taylor could definitely be assumed as a sociopath. He had some trauma in his past. His mother was brutally murdered. He did kill a lot of people. Not even going to try and figure out how many people he did kill, because it's nowhere near as much as 250,000. And some of that was probably Mia too, so it's really hard to determine exactly how many people he killed. So, we can pretty much safely determine that he's probably a sociopath. And this shows in the DSM V under the antisocial, like we had already talked about. He has a failure to conform to social norms with respect to lawful behaviors by killing people. It doesn't really show that much in the movie of him being deceitful or repeated lying, but he does use the alias Akira, and he does, of course, kill people for the pleasure of being with Mia. In Light Turner's case, he does not plan ahead very much at all. That's one of the major differences between the two characters. He does have irritability and aggressiveness. That definitely shows with his interactions with Elle, and he does, of course, just like with Light Yagami, have the reckless disregard for safety or self of others. In regards to the consistent irresponsibility is indicated by repeated failure to sustain to consistent work behavior on our financial obligations. This one's we just don't have enough information to go off of that. And then also the lack of remorse, indicated by being indifferent to or rationalizing. He definitely does not show any remorse about killing anyone. He is not 18 years old. There is no evidence of him having this disorder before the age of 15, and doesn't seem like he has schizophrenia or bipolar, so a manic episode isn't very likely to happen, and if it is likely, then again, we don't have the information on it. So at least he fits most of the characteristics for the antisocial personality disorder, so it is fairly easy to assume that he is a sociopath. Is he a narcissist? Absolutely not. If anything, he's just a regular teenager who just was given a book and then decided to try and do something good to the world, thus becoming slightly sociopathic, and just kind of going from there. The intelligence factor? No, it doesn't show anymore. Like, all the important aspects of Light Yagami do not translate over to, is he the top of his class? Never stated, and from his actions in the movie, I'm gonna say no. Definitely not the smartest person in class. He was also very good at sports? Nope. Absolutely not good at sports. He was this nerdy outsider that didn't even kick a ball, it looked like, in the movie. Third aspect, he was incredibly handsome and popular in his school for Light Yagami. So therefore he had women falling all over heads and heels in love with him. The only way that he could actually get Mia's attention was when he showed her the notebook and then killed someone to prove that it actually worked that way. Yeah, that's not the same character. But I think it's safe to say that the anime will probably always be better. In the context of the anime, then it is a complete failure. If you are looking at it outside of that realm, then okay. But really, the only thing that's truly the same about the two is the fact that they have Death Note and there is a notebook that has rules that came from the Shinigami world that can kill people. But the book itself and the rules are also vastly different. So that's about the only similarity other than characters sharing similar names.